All right. So, hey, anyone who is a fan of dystopian sci-fi like RoboCop, this is a very RoboCop kind of a turn that you would have this half-ass TV psychiatrist. The Dr. Phil would be the guy going out on these raids. So here is his very weird to me announcement that he's going to be on the team.
To meet with Tom Homan, and we're going to brief what's happening tomorrow, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, go over all the security protocol, because it's a pretty high risk mission that we're going on. This truly is a targeted ICE mission, because they're not sweeping neighborhoods like people are trying to imply. I know that because I've been involved in this heading into this. They've identified 270 high value targets. And what I mean by that is these are known criminals and terrorists. We're talking about murderers, child traffickers, child rapists. We're talking about bad actors, both in the countries they've come from and since they've been here in the United States. Some of these people have 12, 15 arrest, indictments, some convictions in their home countries and here.
All right, so you get the idea. So this is the video that really went around where they were arresting a fan of the playground, as we say. All right, so let's see what happened.
Seda.
Seda what? You have a first and last name.
Sam.
Seda Sam?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
But I've been in the system before.
B&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Charged where?
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk to my lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You Dr. Phil. You look like Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, you know.
Should ask for
On
his
TV.
autograph.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Phil's going to cut a bitch here. So yeah, in his video saying he's going to go out. Oh yeah, they're going to put Dr. Phil at risk, like he's going on a risky mission. Oh, this is really dangerous. I am sure you got 10 guys, with sniper rifles to make sure nothing happens to Dr. Phil during this publicity stunt.
This is some crazy shit.
How do you know? How do you know me? How do you know me? Perhaps I helped you quit smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children, and he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really? And never been deported?
Nope.
Huh.
Let's take him in, process and lock him up.
Got it, sir.
All right. Can you get a transport vehicle?
Working on it. Okay.
Now, the comments on this, unlike Ms. Gomez's video, were overwhelmingly positive. This is pretty much what you saw. Who would have thought Dr. Phil would be out on the streets with Tom Homan? This is the best timeline. Dr. Phil and Tom Homan, the send 'em all home buddy movie of the century.
I'm
So
sorry. This is
people
like
are
all of
very
America.
gleeful about this.
All of
Go ahead.
America is the basement of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. Like all of America, or is not the basement, the dining room. Like all of America is the dining room around that table. Like, how sick do you have to be to actually like find that unironically entertaining? Like, I find it entertaining. I look at that and I'm like, man, Idiocracy gave us too much credit, right? I mean, Idiocracy was too optimistic. Some fucking daytime huckster doctor going out with the borders are for the cameras for entertainment, asking this criminal alien where he's from, what he did. Like, this is Cops. That's what Cops was. That
It's
was
Cops.
the Cops TV show.
Cops,
That's
sure.
Cops. And yet this is somehow unironically entertaining to people. People actually watch this and don't have the self-awareness to understand that they're living in a just comically devolved dystopia of a country. That's what that says to me.
Well, it's
Dr.
not.
Phil? Dr. Phil. It'd be one thing, like, it'd be one thing if you had even, I mean, this would be pretty fucking ridiculous too. But if you had like Steven Seagal, at least that guy's an actual like cop, right? What does he do? He does some bullshit. Doesn't he work in law enforcement? I think he did for a while. I'm pretty
No.
sure he does.
No, the guy he worked with the mob.
Steven Seagal? No, check that. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
Steven
Seagal.
Seagal. He had a whole court case because the mob was trying to blackmail him because they put up money for one of his early movies.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the
he's
mob
done
was
some...
like they were not blackmailing him; they were extorting him.
Do I have the wrong guy? Chat, let me know. Steven Seagal.
I don't think so. Look, yeah, it is very dystopian, but it's not an accident that is the video they released. What do you think? They didn't get anybody who, stole something, who was guilty of a more minor thing. It's not an accident that the clip that's out there is the fan of the playground. Like, who's going to argue with that? That's why I'm saying the ridiculous element here is, it was Dr. Phil have to do with it, but that is by design. They want these things to go viral, I believe, to make their job easier so that a lot of people just leave on their own. And at the same time, I mean, in terms of establishing and maintaining public support for what they're doing, yeah, the Dr. Phil element is ridiculous, but why was that guy out? Why was he out? Why is he walking the streets? It's a legitimate question, and they're forcing that question. I think part of what you are seeing here is whatever the liberals thought they were doing, whatever the legal theory of what they were doing was, it's pretty shocking how they handled this issue when you look at situations like that. Like, that is just common sense. Like, you ask any person. Yeah, so an illegal immigrant wanted for being a fan of the playground, walking around, just walking around the streets. Yeah, they have a legitimate point there, and it's a point that was given to them by the liberal establishment. For whatever reason, I don't even understand what the logic was behind running the immigration system that way in regards to this. You're not just talking about why do we have all these workers. You're talking like, it's a legitimate question. Why is this guy out? Why is he walking the streets?
All right, so I Googled it. Yeah, so Seagal was a reserve deputy sheriff in Louisiana and Arizona. And
Was he?
He had the realities TV series Steven Seagal Lawman, which followed his time in law enforcement. So, yeah, so he was, I mean, not full-time apparently, but reserve sheriff.
Hang on, you're talking about after his movie career?
Yeah, like fairly recently.
Oh, so not before.
No,
he
that wasn't
became
like
a
his
film
background,
star.
but yeah,
that's why I was like, nah, I think it was. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you took him out, I mean, that would be pretty ridiculous too. But to take Dr. Phil around, I mean, this would be like, Hillary Clinton taking Oprah around, or Joe Biden taking Oprah around on law enforcement. Like, it's reducing it to such spectacle. It's such spectacle.
Well, that's
right?
where it's the dystopian
It's so
sci-fi
clownish.
element. It's,
Yeah.
Running Man and Fahrenheit 451. It kind of has that vibe to it.
Well, yeah, and the point of that is to create broad-based anti-immigrant sentiment because they're not going to stop at just criminals. That is their plan until they are reined in. That's why I did the Mississippi segment, because that's an example of taking it to an extreme where even some of Libs of TikTok's followers are like, whoa, that's too much. That's what it's going to take to rein any of this in at all, because what they're clearly doing, while they're able to say that they are only rounding up criminals, which we know that's not true. We know that they have done house raids and that they've done business raids, at least one without a warrant. So, you know, they are laying the groundwork right now by saying that this is only about criminals. They're trying to win over as much public support as possible and gin up as much broad-based anti-immigrant sentiment as possible, so that when they do take it to the next step, they have the political capital to withstand that project.
I think you're
if they can get support up into the 60s for deporting everybody, they're like, yeah, fuck it, we'll go for everybody. Worst case, we lose 10%, we're still at 55. That's how politics works. You build political capital to spend it on the more controversial parts of what you want to do. That's what I think is happening here. While they're able to say that they're rounding up criminals, they're going to try and broaden the case to the American public that everyone has to go. And then they're going to go for everyone. And it's only when people say, no, that's too much, only when they say their safe word, that they'll stop. And not a second before.
I believe it's 66%. Around 66% think all illegal immigrants should be deported.
Yeah, well, we showed the average of polls last show. It was, you know, we ranged from, like mid-high 50s to mid-60s. So, it's about, it's 60 or more.
So as of now, they have that support for that project. We'll see how, and I think you're right. Starting this way, in terms of building support, it's smart. It's politically smart.
Yeah, we're going to bring Dr. Phil out. We're going to make this really mainstream. This way, when we do stuff that's more controversial, we'll have 10 percentage points to kind of play with, right? I think that's the plan.
Please clap.